There's a fallacy going around that I've seen, and I want to try to describe it and try to point out why it's wrong. I see this a lot on Reddit in discussions about usually specific mechanics. There was a recent example that was talking about the haste spell. Now, optimization communities are generally agreed upon that haste in 5th edition is a pretty bad spell. The benefits that it gives you are comparable or inferior to other spells of the same level, and it comes with a pretty significant drawback if you should lose concentration at any point. So people will say haste is a bad spell and make that statement. Now, you could try to argue that haste is not a bad spell for XYZ reasons, justify your argument mathematically, but that's not what everyone does. Instead, they'll say, it doesn't matter if haste is a bad spell. I like it, so it's fine. You don't have to use it. I'll use it, even though you think it's bad. I don't think it's bad because I find it fun. Okay, let's examine that statement. You find it fun. Sure, I cannot argue with that. That is a purely subjective statement. You can find it fun. Fine. But does that make it okay for it to also be bad? Is you finding it fun predicated on the idea that it is a bad spell? If we were to improve haste so that it is not a bad spell, would you find it less fun? Probably not, I would guess. And this goes for a lot of different factors. Mechanics, features, spells, feats, races, etc. Like, the idea that it is okay for something to be bad because it is fun in concept. I get this a lot when I talk about, I did a rework of the Barbarian class because I found the PHB Barbarian so incredibly weak and ineffectual and unfun for me that I rewrote it from scratch as a brand new class. And people said, and when people asked why I did this, like, because the Barbarian is really, really bad. And I'll make the argument online that, Barbarian is like one of the bottom tier classes. It's so incredibly weak. But people say, like, so I love Barbarians. You're allowed to love Barbarians. Would you love them less if they were good? It's a weird fallacy, and maybe it's a pre-existing fallacy. Maybe there's a name for this already. I don't have a name for it. I don't want to call it the Sabrox fallacy because I think you usually name fallacies after the people who do them. So I would, and I don't want to call it the Crawford fallacy because I feel like he's got other stuff that we need to name that. But anyways, this idea that it is okay for there to be game imbalances because the items involved are fun. Now, it is an appeal to the idea that fun is the most important part of the game. This is true. Fun is the most important part of the game, and it is also true that people can have fun without the game being balanced. There are definitely a lot of tables out there, a lot of groups, a lot of individuals for whom balance is not a big deal. It genuinely doesn't matter at all. But by definition, those tables don't care if it's balanced. They don't care about the intricate, subtle designs that are going to make something optimal or inoptimal. Unoptimal? Bad. They don't care. They can't care by definition. So that is not an argument for not fixing something because they don't care. If it's good, bad, doesn't matter to them. It doesn't change their enjoyment. But it does change the enjoyment of people who do care about the mechanics, who do care about optimization, who do care about the mechanics of the game. They care. And so by fixing these things, by making the good things bad, making the things that are overpowered and bringing them down to a reasonable level, so that there isn't an obvious correct answer for like which spells to pick, which feats to pick, which races to pick, etc. And by taking the underpowered things, the things that are basically never worth using, and bringing them up to a reasonable level so that it's competitive with other options in the same category. By doing that, you've increased the enjoyment for the people who do care, such as myself. And to say that because Group A doesn't care, therefore it doesn't need to be improved, the experience of the game does not need to be improved for Group B, that's a terrible way to approach game design. Why not make it, because Group A doesn't care either way. Group B does care, so change it so that they like it, because you're not going to hurt their enjoyment. It's a weird idea that seems to be spreading, that because fun is the most important thing, there's a sort of implication that there's only one correct way to have fun. That's the implication, that Group B, who cares about mechanics, their fun doesn't matter. Only the people who don't care about mechanics, their fun matters. And in some capacity, there is the implication that them having fun is bad. They should stop approaching the game the way that they do, and they should start approaching the game the way these people do. That is the preferable solution to just fixing the game. And I think that's strange, don't you?